Good evening, everybody. Are we set? Are we ready to go?
Ready, Freddie.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to our Public Works Committee meeting agenda, or committee meeting for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. The time is exactly 6 p.m. right now. BJ, if you're there, can you please call roll? BJ, are you present to call roll?
Yes, sorry about that.
Okay, that's fine.
Counselor Denise Benavides,
Present.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
Present.
Counselor John Ramon Vigil,
Present.
Okay, and as far as myself, the chair, Dennis Tim Salazar, I'm also present. With that, we do have a quorum. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Counselors, before you is the agenda. If you've had an opportunity to look through it, I'm looking for a motion for approval in a second.
So moved. Second.
Okay, thank you. Motion's been made by Counselor Benavides, seconded by Counselor Valdez. BJ, if you could call roll, please.
Chair Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Denise Benavides,
For the motion.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
In favor.
Counselor John Ramon Vigil. Counselor John Ramon Vigil,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes. Okay, next item is the approval of our Public Works Committee meeting minutes. This is going to be for the minutes from December 1st, 2020. Counselors, if you've had the opportunity to look over the minutes, I'm looking for a motion for approval in a second.
So moved.
Okay, I'm looking
Second.
for. Okay, motion's been made by Counselor Benavides, seconded by Counselor Valdez. BJ, if you could call roll.
Chair Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar,
Yes, for the motion.
Counselor Denise Benavides,
For the motion.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
In favor.
Counselor John Ramon Vigil.
For the motion.
Very good, thank you. The motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Is there anybody from the public at this time wanting to make a comment before our Public Works Committee?
Yes.
Okay, please, member from the public, please state your full name and what you're coming before us for.
Press it. Do you press all the time? Okay. Yeah. So hi, this is Virgil Vigil, and I was in reference to this problem that I have about condemning a piece of property, and basically I just they have the wrong address that was mailed to me, on like the 3 different letters that were sent to the wrong address, and they're condemning my property. And I'm glad they brought it to my attention of the problems that were out there, and we've gone out there and cleaned the property and fixed the frozen sewer line and got the stuff squared away. So we've taken care of all these problems. Other than the problem was that I didn't know, because they have the wrong address on the different letters that are in front of me here. So I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vigil. We appreciate you coming before our committee. With this maybe possibly the Richard Hubler's department could possibly meet with Mr. Vigil, if that's a possibility, Mr. Hubler? Yes, go ahead, Mr. Hubler.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. So we have a meeting scheduled for 8:30 tomorrow morning with Mr. Vigil and City Manager Javier Martinez to discuss the issues related to this condemnation and this property.
Okay, very good, sir. Thank you. Mr. Vigil, is that to your satisfaction as well, to be able to have the meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30 to discuss pretty much what's going on and look for possible resolutions, sir?
Yes, sir. That's acceptable.
Okay,
Yes,
very
sir.
good. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you coming before us. You have a great evening. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hubler, for that as well. Is there anybody else from the public before us?
No, that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, next item on the agenda is going to be our business with visitors. I don't think we have anything there. Committee member comments. Anybody from our committee has any comments at this time?
Mr. Chair, I have a comment.
Okay, yes, go ahead, Councilor Vigil. You have the floor.
I'd like to thank Javier for meeting with Jemez Mountains Electric Co-op officials. I was present with their meeting the other day. It was very productive, and I think we're moving in the right direction, identifying ownership and getting our lights restored throughout town. And I'd really like to thank Jemez Co-op for getting the lights restored that are this co-op's responsibility and moving forward with that. And like to identify future going forward, how we go about maintaining all our lights in the city and continuing that relationship. So thank you, Javier, for working on that.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Councilor. Thank you for bringing that up as well. And, just to be able to continue moving forward between the city and Jemez. I guess at this time, our city manager, Javier Martinez, do you have anything to add to that, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Councilor John Ramon Vigil, appreciate your acknowledgement. And yes, absolutely, we are moving forward with Jemez Co-op along with other entities to make sure that we have a good path forward for the city's future.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Councilors, is there any other comments? I think Didi Valdez, Councilor Valdez, you have your hand raised. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I just wanted to comment that we all want our city to be beautified, and that's why we're doing the clean and lean. But I had an issue today. A constituent called and said that they had called the fire department between the hours of 8 and 9 like they're supposed to. And they just got a, excuse me, message, an answering machine. And they called twice, but nobody ever responded to the phone call. And so I think if it's not going to be windy, the fire department should answer these phone calls when people burn their own trash, it beautifies the city. So I just wanted to make that comment that if fire department or any department, myself, if somebody leaves you a message, it's common courtesy to return the call. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councilor Valdez. Appreciate that. Also, City Manager Martinez, would you be able to follow up with that if at all possible, and maybe possibly get more information from Councilor Valdez offline if there's a necessity, just to ensure that that our customer has the return phone call and what if they need from the fire department.
Absolutely, Mr. Chair, Councilor D. Valdez. I do know that the fire department was all hands on deck to a structure fire at 3 a.m. this morning on Lower San Pedro, where the homeowner lost their home and adjacent garage. So I believe that would be a cause of why they didn't answer the phone call at that time. But I will follow up to make sure that any messages left for that department get returned.
Thank you. And that is a valid reason for them not responding to the phone calls. Thank you for letting me know that.
Very good. Thank you. I think I saw Jeff Sargent. You have your hand raised, sir.
I did, Council Chair and committee member, Didi Valdez, that was the exact information that I was going to be sharing, was that there was a structure fire this morning, and the fire department was fully involved with that, including outside fire departments from La Mesilla and other communities that came in to help us due to the size of that structure fire. So that was the main reason that they're not available to answer calls.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Is there any other councilor comments at this time? Okay, moving on to matters from the chair. I don't really have anything at this time, but I would just like to thank Councilor Denise Benavides for the attempt for last month to possibly chair the Public Works Committee meeting during the time I've been out on medical leave. I know we were unable to have the meeting, but now that we have our meeting today, I know we could be able to catch up on many issues and be able to move forward. That's all I really have at this time for matters from the chair. So the next item will be recommendations, recommended items to the full council. So the first item would be an action item from our streets department, proposal to purchase a truck. Streets department, who would be speaking on this in reference to the truck?
Mr. Chair, I'll be speaking on that one.
Okay, yes, Mr. Elijah Mates, go ahead, sir. You have the floor.
Okay, just brought you guys a proposal here to purchase a truck. We have an aging fleet. A lot of our trucks there are either from the 90s, early 2000s. So we're just trying to replace these older vehicles here and trying to get something here a little bit reasonable, just stuff to get us around to just do the basics. Nothing too big. It's just a standard truck. The Chalmers there has the state contract, so we're able to get it at a lower amount here to be able to suit our needs for there, just so we can replace some of these aging vehicles.
Okay, very good, sir. For discussion purposes, I'm looking for a motion and a second, and possibly discussion from the councilors if there's any at this time.
Motion for purposes of discussion.
Second.
Okay, very good. Motion's been made by Councilor Vihil, seconded by Councilor Benavides. Discussion, Councilor Vihil, you have a comment or question, sir?
Yes. I know Jessica's not on, but one of the big things that I've really been disappointed with here at the city is we don't have an accurate record and inventory of our fleet maintenance program. And a lot of the guys are driving trucks that are just way past their lifespan. And I understand that budgets are tight, and I've always believed that, but the best we can do is at least craft is top notch, good quality, so that they're safe out in the field and when they're working with our constituents. An adequate fleet maintenance plan for this new vehicle. Did anyone hear?
We heard parts, but I know there were certain parts cut off as well. I'm not sure if Elijah, Mr. Matas, if you caught that. I caught parts of it, but parts of it I didn't catch. And I think same thing with Councilor Didi Valdez. I think she wrote something about hard to understand.
Just, we need to create a fleet maintenance plan because our guys need to have good quality equipment and fleet out there when they're working with the public, that they're safe. I support this effort.
Okay, very, very good. I think that came in a little bit more clear. Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Valdez or Councilor Benavides, do you have any comments or questions at this time?
I'll go, Chair. Just the same thing is that I think I've mentioned it before, and I did kind of talk to Mayor about this. We met on Thursday night that, Public Works does a lot and they're always on it. They're out there, snow removal, doing everything, streets, everything that is asked of them. And they have one of the smallest budgets. Oh, yeah. And so I really think we need to do something to improve, number one, the budget. And the other thing is, I know that we're in process of hiring somebody to assist Diane in grants so that Diane can go after larger grants, and hopefully the person that gets hired, I'm not sure if somebody has, can assist her in also following up for as many grants as we can for public works, for vehicles, for equipment, those types of things. Because I really do believe that Councilor John Monreal is correct. We want to make sure that the guys have the equipment that they need, the vehicles that they need, and that they are safe. So hopefully we can do something to increase the budget for public works going forward and, provide them what they need.
Thank you, Counselor. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Wholeheartedly agree. Counselor Valdez, do you have any comments or questions at this time?
I just want to say that what my previous two counselors have stated, I totally agree with that. And I just want to say that on Sunday I called in, it seemed like there was a water leak and they immediately came out and fixed it. So I appreciate that even on Sundays, they do the work, and they definitely do need vehicles that'll get them to and from safely.
Very true. Thank you. Thank you, Counselor. Okay, with that said, there's been a motion on the floor and a second. BJ, would you be able to call roll?
Yes. Chair Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar,
Yes, for the motion.
Counselor Denise Benavides,
In favor?
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
For the motion.
Counselor John Ramon Vigil.
For the motion.
Okay, very good. The motion unanimously passes. Elijah, I think you're looking at bringing this to our full council for next Tuesday's meeting, if I'm correct, sir?
That's correct.
Okay, very good. So yeah, let's plan to have it for the agenda for next Tuesday's council meeting. Thank you very much, and thank you all for your hard work. And we definitely need those trucks for necessities, just to keep on moving. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item is the wastewater treatment plan proposal to purchase Vactor replacement equipment. Who is speaking on this?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Mr. Rodney Talcott will be giving a presentation, and then if there's any questions after, we'll answer your questions.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Trujillo. Mr. Talcott, welcome, sir. You have the floor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The plan is to purchase a new Vactor truck to replace an old Vactor truck that's over 20 years old, which is currently in the shop. We're trying to repair parts of it to still make it functional for the plant. And also we have a second Vactor truck, which is also currently in the shop under repair. So the proposal is to purchase a newer Vactor truck so we can have dependable equipment without having to depend on other entities to assist us in doing our job.
Okay, very good, sir. Thank you. At this time, I am looking for a motion and a second for discussion purposes.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made by Counselor Benavides.
Second.
And there's a second by Counselor Valdez. Counselors, at this time, discussion. Anybody have questions or comments?
This just goes back, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Counselor Vigil.
This goes back to budgeting, creating a fleet maintenance plan. We can't afford to run a city without a Vactor. This is not even just a priority. This is a need. And so going forward, I hope we can budget for this always, where we're putting away money as soon as possible for the purchase of the next vehicle by the time we pay it off.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Any other counselor comments at this time? Okay, hearing none, there's been a motion on the floor and a second. BJ, would you be able to call roll, please?
Stephen has a comment.
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead, Stephen Trujillo. You have the floor, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, just to elaborate on that a little bit. So we are working on an asset management plan We did hire Sauter Miller and Associates, our engineers on contract. We finished the first phase of that and we're working the second phase for that reason. That way it'll tell you if you purchase a truck. Sorry. That way, if you purchase a truck, it'll tell you the life of that truck with the life expectancy, if it's 5 years, 7 years, and you save the funding in order to purchase a new one when that time comes. As far as the Vector truck, what our plan is, just so the committee members understand, is we purchased a brown bear a while back for the wastewater treatment plant, which was approved by the city council. We have 4 more payments of $32,000 left. We did have funding set aside for to purchase a camera truck, which is also a necessity, but at this point, a Vector is more of a necessity. So what we are looking at doing, our recommendation is to take that funding, which is $126,570.42, and pay it off with no penalties. It'll be the $126,000 and pay off that debt. So that way we could be able to finance this Vector for the $425,620. Renting one, we had to rent one for a month and it's $13,000 until we get the other 2 back. So if we go that route within the 5 years, it'd be almost 800,000. So that'd be a Vector and a half. And it wouldn't be good for us to take that route. Also, I'd like to thank Los Alamos County again, because when both our Vectors were down, we called them multiple times and without hesitation, they came down and assisted us for sewer backups that we had on West Pueblo Street. So again, I'd really like to thank them for coming and helping us so quickly and overnight. I think it was a holiday weekend. They worked from Saturday through Monday. So all our water and wastewater department streets, everybody was out there too. So big thanks to those guys. They were even working in the snow when we had the storm, repairing leaks as well. And now that I brought those up, I'll stand for any other questions, just if anybody has to clarify on what we are doing.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Trujillo, and thank you for the plan of action as well. Councilors, do you have any questions or comments for Mr. Talcott or Mr. Trujillo at this time? Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I think that's it. We're ready to vote on this. Again, there's been a motion and a second, so there's no other discussion. BJ, can you please call roll?
Chair Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar,
Yes, for the motion.
Counselor Denise Benavides,
For the motion.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
For the motion.
Counselor John Ramon Vihil.
For the motion.
Okay, very good. Thank you, BJ. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Talcott. Thank you, Mr. Trujillo, for the information. And I think like it's already been mentioned by our previous, by our 3 counselors as previously, as you know, we do need as much support as we can be able to give you. We need as much tools as we can be able to give you to do your job to the best of your ability. I feel this committee is a very strong, passionate committee to help you guys as much as we possibly can and support you guys as well. Thank you guys. Okay, if there's nothing else on recommended items to the full council, let's move on to the next item, which is item I, Streets Department overview. Our street supervisor, Elijah Mott, councilors, if you had the opportunity to look over the information for the overview, and if you have anything else to add to that, Mr. Mott, go right ahead, sir.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee. It doesn't seem like there's a lot on here, but there is a lot that goes into this stuff here. It's kind of several months of just kind of updates, just kind of crammed into here as much as I really could without putting out too much information that really just was, day-to-day stuff. So there are a lot of things that we do that are not on here. But if there's anything else or any questions, please feel free to ask.
Under comment, Mr. Chair, I just want to thank Streets and Public Works today. They were out there at the Prince Ranch cleaning up the ranch. And, I heard from a lot of the neighbors today and they're really happy and thankful. They can't wait for us to start attacking the brush and the debris on the north and south side and then that. But just we're making progress out there. And I just appreciate the guys for being out there today. And Elijah was out there and Ben Martinez from Parks. And so thank you guys for all you do.
Very good. That's really good to hear as well. Also, Mr. Modis, thank you for the very thorough report as well. And I think, like you mentioned, there's a lot more that goes into this that you guys do on a daily basis, day in and day out. That that shows for it. But even with this, that's quite a thorough report, and you guys do a heck of a lot. And thank you guys for that. Is there any other questions or comments for Mr. Modis at this time? Okay, hearing none, I think that's it for Streets. Thank you, Elijah. We appreciate you guys and all you do.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is item J, our wastewater treatment plants. Now we get to speak with our wastewater treatment superintendent, Mr. Rodney Talcott. You're up, sir.
As you see, we've had a pretty busy last 3 months with upkeeping on our PMs for the sewers across town. And if you have any questions on this, the one thing I do want to point out is that we have currently been involved with a national COVID testing in wastewater sewage. And we're trying to see if that disease can be passed on to the public through sewage or into the water systems. And that study is still currently going on, and some of the preliminary results should be coming up soon, and I can share that with anyone who has interest in it.
Okay, very good. Yes, please keep us updated on that. Any kind of information that that we can get on that. And thank you for being a part of this, looking into this study and seeing whatever we could do for the best interest of our city and just this COVID, it's turned our whole world upside down within the last year. So, counselors, do you have any questions or comments for Mr. Talcott at this time in regards to the wastewater treatment plant? Okay, hearing none. That's it for the wastewater treatment plant. Thank you, Mr. Talcott. We appreciate you and your staff, and thank you guys for your hard work, sir.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the General Service Department GSD Director, Mr. Jeff Sargent. You're up, sir.
Good evening, everybody. You should have received the department overview for our department. There are some updates. We are continuing to do setup mainly now on police units for the GPS system. We have a majority of the units already installed on the Public Works Department, GSD Department, Parks Department. So it's a project in motion. We have also, as of probably about 3 weeks ago, I have almost completed the auction of our online assets, our old fleet vehicles, through our online service through government surplus. And we have accumulated over $14,589 in monies from those sales. We just have one unit that I think we might not have a possibility of selling. We'll end up having to send that for scrap. As far as our Cdbg for Ranchitos, we are working with Department of Finance Administration on the environmental. We did our environmental review with them last week, and they had some items that they wanted us to take care of. So we are in process of getting that taken care of with Diane Hawkes, our grants administrator. And next was our Penny Garcia Revolt pool. We're waiting on door hardware. We have gotten part of it. We're just waiting on the second part because due to COVID, the factory for this stuff is manufactured had been placed on a hold. Valdez Park renovation, we are almost like 90% complete on that park as far as the work for the first phase on the $300,000 that was procured and given to us by Senator or Representative Susan Herrera. We are also working on the La Jolla Fire Station. We have met with 3 contractors trying to get bids for renovation of that site. We're looking at extending the back end of that building to renovate and expand living quarters and getting some more expansion for storage for some of our fire units, the smaller units, kind of like the brush ATV and stuff like that. Another item is Vanessa's Hideaway. Not sure if anybody has had a chance to get down to the park or go down and see it, but that work was completed in January, the 15th of January. The new play structure was installed. I think it's a really nice open play structure for the kids. At Veterans Memorial, we're working on getting the fire pit to stay ignited. That has been an issue with that unit since it was installed. When it was constructed, there have been numerous attempts to get that up and going, but my crew is trying to get that done independently since that it's been a failed effort to use outside sources. We also have, I've been working on the FEMA reimbursement for sanitizing services. I've been working with the FEMA representative from the federal government on that, trying to get that approved so we can get reimbursed for over $41,000 worth of sanitizing services that were offered to us. This week, we ended up looking at the crisis center. We had a call that we were having issues with the kitchen center, found that upon removal of the cabinets and the flooring, we found that we had a mold issue underneath the floor. So we have replaced about 2/3 of the flooring in that area down into the insulation and removed it completely. We're hoping to get that completed by the end of the week. We have also been working at the Lucetto Center Pool Mechanical. We had some issues with some corrosion due to chemicals getting on the floor and water as well, to where we're looking at possibilities of electrocution or possibly getting people hurt. So we're working on that project as well. And the last but not least is City Hall planning and land use roofs. We had a company called Tremco who had done the original install on that roof come up, and we did a walkthrough because we're looking at a possibility of extending our warranty since it expires in October. But upon our inspection with them, and we found numerous fractures in that TPO roof, which is our newest roof in the entire city. So we had them send one of their workers up, technicians up, and they spent 2 days taking care of all those breaches. So we're back up and running with, and should have no leaks on that roof. And that's the end of my report. I stand for any questions, Chair.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Sargent. You sure have a lot going on right now. Councilors, do you have comments or questions for Mr. Sargent? Okay, I don't think there's anything. I don't see anything as well either. So I do have actually one question and then one comment as well. I'm just in regards to the Vanessa's Hideaway. Do you know the family of Vanessa Valerio has had the opportunity to look at this and to check it out now that it's been completed?
No, sir. But we are working on a plan to get them involved, and also the Norte Credit Union, as they are our rep or our supporter for that park. So we can get something set up for kind of like a rededication for that park. But that's something that's in the works. When we get closer to getting that concrete and set up, we will notify you folks as well and keep you up to date.
Okay, very good, sir. Just also praying that, things with COVID gets better and then the warmer weather is upon us. So this may possibly, be a good opportunity for that. My next is just a comment as well on top of, all this work. Just want to thank you for all your efforts in regards to COVID, all that research, all that information, and then being able to pass it on and the hard work, now coming on with the ways to be able to, for people to get their shots to, the first and second doses. And then I think just yesterday there was another one, right, that was approved. So I think that's due to come to New Mexico pretty soon as well. So just want to thank you for your efforts. Do you have anything else to add in reference to COVID right now?
Yes, sir. Regarding COVID, the city of Espanola, we have about 5 or 6 employees that we have placed an advertisement through the Rio Grande Sun, through the Espanola Public Schools, through the ABQ newsletter or something that they have up in that area. And also through Cadisa, we have been promoting helping people to get registered on the DOH website for the vaccine. So these last 2 days, just between Victoria and myself down at our emergency management office, we've been getting slammed. We've caught about 10 to 15 calls per day and setting up people, and lost probably about 6. So something that we have told people is, and we have been following up, is when we do have a break or we get any time that we have free, we call back anybody that we may have missed to try and make sure that we get that registration completed. We have also been working with Presbyterian Hospital directly to get the 75 and older age group taken care of. As of last Friday, they did change the criteria a little bit for us, so we are having to do a little bit more legwork, but it's all in a day's work, and we're just doing whatever we need to do to support the citizens of our county and the city, and get everybody vaccinated and proceed forward so we can get onto some sort of regular life.
Very good. Thank you. And this definitely goes a long way, and, it just helps so many people. And of course, their families and those close to them as well. Counselors, do you have any other questions or comments for Mr. Sargent?
Sure, I have just a quick question.
Yes, Counselor Benavides, go ahead, ma'am.
Jeff, can you give me that phone number one more time for the hospital? I did bump into somebody at the grocery store, and her parents are both over 75 and have yet to be vaccinated. And I didn't have that with me. And I think I accidentally deleted the text. I know it's a 367 number, right?
No, it's 747-6093 and 6066. That is mine and Victoria's phone numbers at our office.
Okay.
And something that we just asked the people is, it does take a little bit of time. It's probably about a 10 to 15 minute process per person, because we are now registering them before we submit that information to the hospital.
Okay, so they don't call the hospital directly anymore. Okay.
No, ma'am. We take care of that, and then we submit an Excel spreadsheet to the hospital with the confirmation number, name, date of birth, and a phone number, and they take it from there.
Okay.
And that's about it right now.
Alrighty. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So that's 747-6096 and 747-6093, right? And 747-6066, right? Is that correct?
6066 on the second one, correct.
Okay, very good. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for all your efforts as well. Is there anything else from Mr. Sargent? I think that's about it. Mr. Sargent, thank you, sir. You have a great evening. Okay, moving on to the next item, we have our water department. Item L, our water operations supervisor, Mr. Antonio Chavez. Are you there, Mr. Chavez?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I
Welcome.
stand for any standing questions.
Thank you, sir. Is there any questions from the council, from the committee for Mr. Chavez at this time in regards to water?
Looks like we had a lot of water leaks. A lot.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Any comment on that, Mr. Chavez?
It's just that time of year, and now that it gets warmer, we expect more because the ground shift. So, yeah.
Very true. Anything else for Mr. Chavez? Okay, I don't think there's anything else. Mr. Chavez, thank you guys for all your hard work. And like you mentioned, all these water leaks, I think your regular work on top of that's going to keep you guys pretty busy throughout the, as the weather's warming up. Thank you guys for everything, sir. Okay, moving on to the next item, we have item M, Planning and Land Use Department, Mr. Richard Hubler. Are you still there, sir?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you,
Okay,
Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Just kind of general updates on the several things we're working on. A couple of things that have just recently happened is that we did get a estimated start date this afternoon on the 506 East Chamisa Clean and Lean asbestos abatement for the week of April 12th. They've done the necessary notice, meeting the EPA and NESHAP certification and kind of getting on their very busy schedule. So that one's going to be moving forward here in just a few weeks. We'll have the demolition follow after that, end of April, first part of May. And then the ADA transition plan draft was just sent to my email box yesterday afternoon. So that's forwarding on to NMDOT. We've got a little bit of probably back and forth with them to kind of get that accepted, but we are nearly complete with that project. The acequia protection ordinance has been completed by our land use attorney and is currently being reviewed by the city's water attorney and the city's general counsel. So we hope to have that some point later this summer, is able to have more larger meetings, with hopefully the relaxation of COVID restrictions and get more people engaged, because we expect that that's going to be a one with a lot of public interest and public comment. So that's all I've got on the overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions related to that before I kind of go on to the next discussion topic, if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Yes, very good. In fact, I would just like to add in reference to the specifically to the ADA transition plan. I'm very happy about that. I know it's been a lot of hard work for you guys to be able to do it little by little, piece by piece, but you guys are almost there, and I think it's going to be a great, huge benefit to the city. So thank you guys for that and the other projects you guys have been working on. In regards to the department overview, counselors, do you have any questions for Mr. Hubler before we move on to the next item? Councilor Benavides, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Just really quick, on the affordable housing plan, hopefully we'll have that done quickly. I know Mayor and I had a discussion about that. I know now with Santa Fe County that there's some things coming down the pipe as far as projects that Santa Fe County is working on or looking into. And we really want to have that in place and talk about fees and things like that, we can charge for fee income. So hopefully we'll get that done soon, and then we can work on the ordinance and other things that go with it before some of these projects come our way, so that we can be prepared and make some fee income there.
Very good. Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilor comments at this time? Okay, hearing none. Yeah, Mr. Hubler, let's go back to the next item, discussion of distressed properties around the city. That's what you're going to talk about, right, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. So this, following the last meeting that we had before the City Council reviewing the clean and lean properties in January, a couple of things became apparent. One of them that kind of made sense to me to process in and with this committee as we move forward, and one that made a little bit more sense to work with the Public Safety Committee on. So I've got a similar presentation on a different topic tomorrow night related to kind of the policing aspect of that. But specifically for this committee, recognizing that the streets department worked with the committee last year to kind of do an analysis of all the streets, with some staff input as far as what streets they thought needed work, and then a tour by the committee to to kind of highlight and rank those streets to help direct action moving forward. I want to take a similar approach to the distressed properties. As we discussed in January, the ones that have been on our clean and lean resolution for the past couple of years have basically gotten to the point where there's just a handful left, and a couple of those are going to be even potentially removed as we move forward. or at least need to be addressed in other ways, perhaps through, policing and trespassing, anti-camping ordinance, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to be working with the Public Safety Committee on. But we do feel that it's important, obviously, that we keep the process going. As Councilor Valdez mentioned before, this has been vital to helping show to the residents and the surrounding community that the council is interested in helping, to kind of clean up the city. So what I'm proposing, and again, this is a discussion, so I'm interested in feedback, and we can bring this back as an actual plan at a future committee meeting. But what my proposal would be is something similar to kind of how we dealt with the street issues, is having members of the committee recognize or nominate properties that are distressed, that need to be reviewed, evaluated, that kind of thing. We can put those on a list. Staff can do some research into the properties, and then bring it back to this body for kind of a rating or a ranking kind of process, whereby we identify those that are sort of the biggest nuisance, or those that just need the most immediate action. So then that way we develop a more formalized process moving forward to kind of keep this project ongoing. And so that's kind of my basic thoughts, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, or, and turn it over to you, Mr. Chair, and the committee for your thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Hubler. I think the field trip, I think that would be warranted, and I think that's a very good idea. And of course, to prioritize, to see, what's, the biggest priority as opposed to, on down the line as well. Councilors, any questions, any comments, any feedback for Mr. Hubler in reference to the distressed properties? Councilor Benavides, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Yeah, just really quick, I do think it's a great idea, and I actually missed the last field trip, but I definitely would like to join in on this one. And I know there's several that I could think of just off the top of my head. And so, yeah, I think it's awesome. So count me in.
Very good. I think we look forward to that. And if we could just, be able to come up with a plan of action, like you mentioned, Mr. Hubler, and then, just of course, step-by-step work on this, and then eventually bring it back to the committee when all is ready. Councilor Valdez or Councilor Behill, do you have any comments or questions?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So with that said, Mr. Hubler, what would be the next step? Are we looking at a field trip within the next month, 2 months, or just to bring it back to committee next month and every month thereafter that, or what are your plans actually for the committee and for you guys to move forward with this?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So what I would suggest and maybe recommend, one of the advantages of taking this kind of targeted approach, tackling the same issue a couple different ways, is that there's not any overlap between this committee and the Public Safety Committee. So I think in that regard, my request, I guess, would be for you as members of the governing body, as representatives of your district, to nominate properties within your district, or even outside your district. Maybe send that to me via email, or give me a phone call. If we can do that over the next month, talk with the other councilor in your district, perhaps as well as necessary. I'm going to be making a similar pitch to them tomorrow night, related to the kind of topics we're talking about there. But maybe nominate properties, as Councilor Benavides said, she's got several in mind, and I can start generating that list, and I can share that as we move forward. I don't know that by this time next month if we'll have a complete list enough for a field trip, but certainly I think we'll have a good start, and we can talk about that and maybe make that a discussion item on the agenda again, to add any other properties that aren't already on that list. I'll submit that, as part of the packet material. And then, as we can work to, do a field trip here a little bit in another month or two. Certainly I'd like to keep this process moving, because obviously our next council meeting, where we're going to review the clean and lean ordinances at the end of April. So if we have some kind of action moving into how to keep this process going, if we're able to remove more properties, or maybe even close out that ordinance in April, if we've already got something happening for the next set, I think that would be a great way to go. So I guess my request, Mr. Chair, and members of the committee, would be to give me a call or send me an email with properties you think belong on a list. And this is not necessarily like properties you feel 100% need to be demolished, but just properties that, that seem distressed, that they're kind of weighing down the neighborhood. Obviously, we got a lot of variety in the city. Our our average has got some real high areas, high quality housing, high quality neighborhoods in some areas that are in much rougher shape. But even in those areas that are rougher, there's properties that stand out by being kind of below the average. So that would be my kind of general guideline is, those properties that do seem distressed, that maybe are neglected, maybe they're vacant, maybe they're not, and in some cases it may be that we just bring light to them and interact with the property owner and help them get back into shape. In other cases, obviously, as we've seen, we're likely to have some properties that don't have a responsive owner, and we might need to go to the process of cleaning them up or paying a contractor to do work on them. So I think any of those ideas, properties that you feel deserve to be on this list, send those over to me. I'll put that list together and we'll bring it back and discuss them at the next committee meeting, if that's okay with you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. I think that's a great plan of action and recommendation. So as far as our committee, and I know you mentioned public safety, I think we have a little bit of homework for this next month as well. So we'll definitely plan to work on that. And yes, let's please bring it back to the committee next month, just to, as a discussion item, just to see where we're at and, where we need to go. And, hopefully, like you mentioned, by the end of April, we could all, get to where we need. Councilor Benavides, you have another comment or question, ma'am?
Just a quick comment. One of the things that I'd like for us to do now that it's starting to warm up, there's a couple of areas, one of them being the public housing there, Duran. There's an area in the front there. There's a basketball court, and I think there's some bleachers there. But the kids can't really play there because it's just so inundated with weeds and trash and things. And it may not be now because of winter, but I'd like to see us at some point get that cleaned up and see if we can get the kids to, have a place to at least play basketball, sit down, hang out. And I did bring that to Santa Fe Civic's attention as well. And I'm hoping that they can partner with us. I did bring the Abadon subdivision, public housing there, low-income housing, to the attention of a committee that we met today. And they do have plans to fully renovate that particular area. They're starting with the roofs. They're going to take down the fences. I mean, the chain link. We're talking nice fences, and that's going to be a project in the probably the next year.
They also got new solar too.
They did, but I have to talk to you about an issue we have with that. I need your help with Hemis a little bit. And the other one was San Pedro. There was a really nice area that had slides and things like that for the kids to play. But when we were out there, when we did the kids' boxes with school supplies this past summer, the kids weren't playing there. And when I walked up to look at it, it was so hot. So I'm going to kind of see if Judge Stephen would agree to plant some trees that he's got out there. And I've already talked to Santa Fe County to see if they're good with that, and they are. And, maybe whatever the city can do to assist in cleaning up some of the areas that are for the kids. And so, we could just keep that in mind. And as it gets warm, maybe we can get out there and do some cleanup.
Very good. Thank you, Councilor Benavides, and thank you for all that legwork as well. And of course, like you mentioned, as it's warming up and for the kids, is there any other members from the committee that have any comments at this time? Okay, I think that's all. Is there anything else, Mr. Hubler?
No, that completes my two items. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Thank you, sir. We look forward to, continuing the discussion on this next month, and of course, to see what, transpires within the month to, get the requested information that you're looking for, so we could move full speed ahead. Thank you and your staff for all your continued hard work.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, moving on. Next item, we got our Public Works Director, Mr. Steven Trujillo, the Public Works Department overview. Mr. Trujillo, you have the floor, sir.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee. So a few updates on mine. So the long-awaited nitrate removal system has been moved to the middle of March 17th to be delivered. They had said at the end of February, but we ran into problems. So now the scheduled date to arrive is March 17th. I've already met with the contractor for advanced environmental. He's signing the permits to send over to the state. So once we receive that, the construction will start there on Calle Ranchitos. For light repairs on US 84, Riverside, we got the purchase order in today. So you'll be seeing Bigsby coming out and working on Riverside and doing those LED upgrades that we got for. Also recently on February 22nd, the streets crew went out and the purchased property off of North Railroad. They took down the house and started placing all the trash and debris inside bins. That's waited to be picked up by North Central Solid Waste and should be cleaned by next week. Also for North Prince today, as Councillor John Ramon Vihil mentioned, I would just like to thank everyone who is involved, which would be parks, general services, streets, water, wastewater. Everybody got there this morning, got there at 9. Started just attacking it. It's been a long process. I know it's a long awaited process, but there is a lot that goes into it. City Manager Javier Martinez and myself had met with Solid Waste Bureau, had to come up with a plan of action, having to get receipts. So we're doing that portion of it. We'll be back out there again tomorrow, cleaning, and maybe the rest of the week to clean up. And as far as the brush, I met with Fire Chief Ron Padilla, and that's going to be the second section of it. We still need to have a fire plan, separate all the piles where the fire department wants it, and be able to collaborate to meet with them. I know they are low staffed, so it may take a while, but rest assured it will get taken care of for all the listening public. And I'll stand for any questions that anybody has on my overview.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Trujillo. Any comments or questions for Stephen Trujillo at this time? I don't think there's anything, Mr. Trujillo, but just want to thank you all. And of course, with your leadership and City Manager Martinez for being able to attack this project that you guys started on today. And I know it's going to be again, a lot of preparation, but it's going to be a lot of work to be able to continue this. And as far as the other projects as well that's going on, thank you guys. You guys are doing a wonderful job overall with everything everything that falls under Public Works. And at the same time, is there any specific way that the committee can be able to support you guys and help you guys? We're on board, and also please let us know. We welcome any ideas, suggestions, recommendations, and so on. Councilors, is there anything else? I know I already mentioned, but do you have anything for Mr. Trujillo? I don't think anything else, Stephen. I think that's about it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next item is this is a new item, and I'm really happy to see this on our agenda, our customer service utilities department. Our customer service manager, Danielle Bustos. Ms. Bustos, welcome to the Public Works Committee. We're very happy to have you. And there's a lot that's entailed into your job, which you do. And of course, customer service, that's really, key within our city. Welcome aboard. You have the floor, ma'am.
So good evening, Honorable Chair, members of the committee. It's me, Diane.
Hi, Diane.
So we are taking this evening to formally introduce a new department that has been reorganized at City Hall. So we now have a grants and utilities department, of which I will be the oversight along with Ms. Danielle Bustos. So we're happy to report that for this committee meeting, from this point forward, we will have departmental updates. Our intent is to address basically, we'll report billing amounts, we'll report revenues collected, we will report data regarding utility connections, new services, existing connections, things of that nature. So we did just kind of want to formally introduce ourselves as a new department, and we stand for any questions. I see Ms. Bustos is on with us now, if you'd like to chime in.
Very good, Ms. Danielle Bustos. Welcome. You have the floor, ma'am.
I think Diane covered it. Just a little nervous.
Okay, very good. Well, we want to welcome you, both of you, to the Public Works Committee. We really look forward to all your updates and being able to work with you guys, to be able to support you guys. Also to Diane, Ms. Hawkes, congratulations on the additional duties that you have as well. And,
Thank you.
And I know, Danielle's already been, working very hard, and any way that we could support you guys, we're on board. Counselors, do you guys have any comments or questions for Ms. Hawkes or Ms. Bustos at this time? Ms. Benavides, Counselor Benavides. you have the floor. Yes.
Well, first of all, of course, I have to thank Diane, to congratulate Diane and thank her both, just because of the great job that she's doing and that she's done. I did talk about you Thursday night as well, Diane. I hope that at some point you can have some free time to apply for some huge grants. I would love to see us at some point work together on a light tech project, a tax credit project, so that we can have something in the millions of dollars that we could produce something beautiful for our community, for our city. And I foresee that in the future. Also, Danielle, welcome. Thank you for being part of this committee. We welcome you. Good luck, ladies. I mean, I'm happy for you guys and what you're going to bring to utilities. And congratulations to the two of you ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Well said, Counselor. Very well said. Any other Counselor comments?
Chairman,
Yes, go ahead. Counselor Valdez, you have the floor, ma'am.
thank you. I just want to welcome both ladies to our committee, and the information that you're going to be providing us sounds amazing. And just again, thank you for creating this new entity of customer service. I'm assuming it's new, right? Because I know we had utilities department, but I wasn't aware that we had a customer service department. And it's very important, customer service, because that's how the public perceives us, how we answer or work with them. So thank you again.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Is there any other Counselor comments? Okay, hearing none at this time, Diane or Danielle, do you have anything else to add in regards to your department or anything of that nature?
Nothing right now. I think I'll be more prepared next time around.
Okay, very good. Thank you, guys. Congratulations once again, and we look forward to working with you guys and being able to support you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on, before we talk about the next meeting and adjourn, I would just like to turn the floor over to City Manager Martinez, just if you have anything to add, sir. If you don't, that's absolutely fine, sir, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the committee. Appreciate the time, sir. I just want to add a little bit in regards to the new department, which Ms. Hawkes would be the director or the oversight of this department. So she will oversee utility/customer service, and also oversight of the new position that we're going to be that we've currently advertised for is our projects coordinator/specialist. So hopefully this will bring some help and much needed assistance to the grants and for the city to be able to facilitate and coordinate and get projects on the right path. Because I know that in the past we've had a bunch of directors from general services to public works, even planning, kind of doing multiple duties, multiple hats, trying to coordinate and getting projects facilitated moving forward. But I believe that this person that we get hired in will kind of funnel all this into a new good path forward. And I open to any questions. And also, I know that this committee has done a great job, and all the departments have done giving you a plethora of information. So like I say, I open to any questions, any comments. My phone is always available to all of you to give me a call on any issues that you might have, and we can respond promptly to any concerns that you might have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, City Manager Martinez, and thank you for your leadership, sir. We really appreciate you. We appreciate all you do. Councilor Benavides, I think you have a question, comment?
Just really quick. I don't know if Director Hobler's still on with us, but and for City Manager, I'd like at some point for us to put down on the list. I think that an extra employee, when we can afford to get planning and land one, I think also is another area that could really use an additional employee so that we can go down the line, or Director Hubler, of also, which I'm sure he does already, trying to bring new business into the valley and just kind of assessing what businesses would work for us. You know, especially on the west side of town, I think we could stand to get some business on that side of town, which I know he is thinking about. But I think at some point, if we could also put on the to-do list to try to budget for another employee in that area, I think that would be a huge help, not just to him, but you know, to the city in general. So just on the to-do list.
Absolutely, Councilor Denise Benavides. So the Planning and Land Use Department unfortunately had one of those positions frozen in order to pass the FY21 budget. So looking forward, meeting with the Finance Committee and moving forward to see where we're at in the future to unfreeze these much needed positions that were frozen at the beginning of the fiscal year.
Thank you for the information on, in regards to that. Is there any other questions or comments? Okay, moving on to the next item is going to be our next meeting, tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, April 6th, 2021. If there's nothing further before this committee, I'm looking for an adjournment, motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. We are adjourning at 7:05 p.m. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you, and y'all have a good evening.
Good evening.
Good night. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.